Again, thank you very much for coming today. Basically, scholars, when they speak about Sharikat al-Aqd, they divided it also into several categories, depending on the capital contributed. If we have equal capital contributed, then we call it Sharikat al-Mufawada. If we have different capital contribution, let's say 60, 40, 70, 30, then it's called Sharikat al-Inan. Musharakah can also be based on the so-called whether both parties work or they don't work. It is also based on whether they have capital at the beginning or they don't have. If they don't have capital but they have their skills, then it is called Sharikat al-Abdan. That means, let's say I'm a carpenter, you are a carpenter, we use our skills, and from our skills we grow the capital. We make things, we sell, we get capital. This is if we have the tools. We use our tools, your workshop, my workshop, we try from this, we try to come up with a product. That product we sell, then we start making capital. This is called Sharikat al-Abdan. The last one is called Sharikat al-Wujuh. Sharikat al-Wujuh, both of us enjoy good reputation in the market. Okay? We use our reputation to borrow capital to start a business. People will not lend us money if they don't know us. So because we are well known, people will trust us and give us capital, then we start a business. It's called Sharikat al-Wujuh. All these types, except Sharikat al-Inan, is the one that survived in the modern world, and it is practiced in Islamic banking. Now, when Islamic banking started 40 years ago or so, as we all know, Musharakah was not practiced. So all we had debt-based products such as Murabaha. In Malaysia, it was BBA based on Aina. 35 years was all about Murabaha and Aina in Malaysia. In the Middle East was mainly Murabaha, Ijara Mutayyab, Tamlik, and so on. It's only about 10 to 15 years ago where the word Musharakah somehow, because of a lot of remarks and criticism leveled against Islamic banks, then some Islamic banks started to think about Musharakah. And it is in that period, about 15 years ago, where AAOIFI came up with its standard on Musharakah. So has that standard really, is it really meeting the objective or the appetite of the industry? I have my own remark. I would like to see your remark as I present some of the issues here. So has that standard met the objectives of those who introduce Musharakah in the market, or they want to introduce and move away, or at least to reduce the debt-based products? So is that standard capable of doing that? Now, how about the Malaysian standard? Is it able to do that? So we will see some of the clauses. But the concept developed into the so-called Musharakah Mutanaqisa. That's why the focus would be on this, Musharakah Mutanaqisa. Now, since I'm not going to give a lecture on Musharakah, and this is not type of lecture, but rather to see the differences of the, yes. Yeah.
When you buy stocks or security, when you buy stock or equity of a company,
yeah,
is that considered as Musharakah or Mudarakah?
No, that is Musharakah. You are the new owner of the stock. That means you own a percentage of the capital of that company. The owner of the stock is the owner of a percentage of that capital of the company. That's why you deserve dividend. So if the company makes profit, you deserve. So unless you sell, then someone else will be the new owner of that percentage, and so on. But can shares be a capital for mudaraba? Yes. Let's say I am a capital provider, you are a fund manager, I give you 100,000 ringgit, I said please invest it for me on mudaraba basis. You go and buy shares, okay, worth of 100,000. Then you start investing, selling and buying, selling and buying. Basically, that quantity of shares belongs to the mudaraba venture at the moment of the investment. So the asset itself can be a capital for mudaraba, but the owner of the share is an owner of the percentage of the company. So the musharakah mutanaqisa is the one that has prevailed in the market about 15 years ago as a concept that developed in the Middle East, primarily in the Middle East. But in Malaysia, it started around 2008, 2005, 2006, something like that. But when it appeared, there was no Sharia standard at the time. In the Middle East, there was. But I have an observation which is going to be tested as I present, that the AAOIFI Shariah Standard Musharakah focus more on Sharikat al-Aqad rather than Sharikat al-Milk. As you read the clauses and the paragraphs of AAOIFI, you feel like they are talking about Sharikat al-Aqad, a business venture. The objective is to make profit. If you have the standard with you, just read. Even though they classify that under Musharakah, and they have a clause about Musharakah mutanaqisa, but when they come to explain Musharakah mutanaqisa, they say the same rule that apply to Musharakah also apply to Musharakah mutanaqisa. So something that would raise some concerns that about 90% of AAOIFI's concern was on Sharikat al-Aqad, which is not practiced by Islamic banks. Banks and customers are not having any musharakah together. But the whole, if I can say, the whole AAOIFI standard is about Sharikat al-Aqad. They have not captured Sharikat al-Milk in the proper way. On the other side, the BNM Shariah Standard, again, about 90% of the clauses about Musharakah mutanaqisa is about Sharikat al-Milk. This is how a bank and a customer own a house. What are the terms and what are the Sharia issues related to that ownership? So this is one of the major differences between the standards, between AAOIFI and BNM. One has mainly focused on Sharikat al-Milk, which is the Malaysian standard, and AAOIFI standard focused mainly on Sharikat al-Aqd. So I was just asking why the new update of the AAOIFI standard has not really expanded on Sharikat al-Milk, even though in the Middle East now they also practiced house financing using Musharakah mutanaqisa. And I, not to my knowledge, I don't know any Islamic bank which is having a Musharakah contract with customers, except on the sukuk side. Sukuk is something else. But on the financing, retail financing, not to my knowledge. If you know, just let me know.
Definition, Musharakah mutanaqisa or diminishing Musharakah has ijara in other part, right?
Yes.
So in that case, the AAOIFI name the ijara standard as ijara and ijara mutayyib. So they are more focused on that part. But because when we are discussing diminishing Musharakah, the Shirkatul Milk part, and then regarding the partnership part,
Yeah.
there is more or less similar to the Shirkat Act. I mean, the Sharik himself is more or less same, right? Obligations and duties, etc. In case of Musharakah Mutanaqisa or General Musharakah. Maybe that's why they had skipped here, and instead they discussed that more or less in Ijara Mutahiyyah.
Yeah, but that's a different standard. They have a specific standard on Ijara Mutahiyyah Tamlik. But they should have, in my view, they should have discussed it in the standard of Musharakah. Under Musharakah, they haven't said anything about Sharikat al-Milk. I mean, Musharakah Mutanaqisa using, being employed in Sharikat al-Milk. How to own a house ownership between the bank and the customer. That detail is not mentioned. Compared to the Malaysian one, there are details, even the steps, 1, 2, 3, 4. Even the issue of default, even the issue of collateral. Why? Because in Malaysia, house financing is mainly using Musharakah Mutanaqisa. House financing. So you feel like the standard in Malaysia is appealing to the market, right? But on the other side, there's little about Sharikat al-Aqd in the Malaysian standard. That's the main difference. There's only 3 or 4 clauses. This also should give an insight on the trend of both markets. In theory, I'm talking about theory, that in Malaysia, the focus is more on debt. It's a debt-based driven market. In the Middle East is also debt, but the standard setters want to expand the Musharakah. So that's why they provided more standards on Musharakah. But they have not seen in the reality yet. It's not in the GCC market is still a debt-based market. Even though all the critics of Islamic banking who want Musharakah, who want profit and loss sharing, are from the Middle East. But they have not been able to convince the bankers there to start a real Musharakah venture. So here in Malaysia, the Sharia scholars, the standard setters, they know the trend. They just give what the trend wants. You want debt-based security, products, so this is how it is. But it doesn't mean that they want it to remain as it is. It's just that they are regulating the market. But in the Middle East, you feel like the Sharia, the AAOIFI standard, is not regulating the market, but is hoping the market to be like that. That's why Musharakah should be that way. Now, if you go to the details between BNM and AAOIFI Shariah Standards, as my methodology in this is to pick up the differences rather than the similarities. From time to time, I show some similarities, but I pick up the differences and discuss them with you. For example, under Musharakah, AAOIFI standard is of the view that a conventional bank can be a partner in a Musharakah, in a Musharakah venture. So you may have a project whereby one of the partners is a conventional bank. However, AAOIFI says the capital must be Sharia compliant of that conventional bank. When I read this, I could not understand. But it has a basis, of course. A conventional bank money, how do you classify the conventional bank, let's say capital, deposits, and so on? The assets of the conventional bank, are they Sharia compliant?
Not all of it, necessarily.
Maybe
Okay, the deposits.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, it means Sharia compliant or not compliant?
Yeah, can be Sharia compliant.
No matter is coming from anywhere, but this deposit still is, they can use it in a Sharia.
No, let's examine the asset of the bank. Let's say they have this deposit, I don't know, let's say $100 million. which come from customers. These are deposits. Is that deposit Sharia compliant?
If it's not based on interest, or if it's not based on interest, let's say that.
Because the contract is based on
We're
money.
talking just about money. We're not talking about the underlying contract, right?
No, the money itself. Let's say take deposits. In the balance sheet, you find deposits, okay? So that deposit worth of 100 million US dollars, let's say a big bank, is that money Sharia compliant or not? Who says it's Sharia compliant?
Not all, but part of it is Sharia compliant.
Huh?
Let's say the current account, they are not paying any interest for the current account, so it's Sharia compliant because there is no.
The money itself, yeah.
It's talking about collecting the money.
Money itself.
Money is
Collecting money
the
is Sharia
contract.
compliant.
You are
But this money, would it make difference before deposit and after deposit? Before deposit is in your pocket. You go to a conventional bank, you place it in a conventional bank. Has it become Sharia non-compliant or is still Sharia compliant? Once it is, let's say, saving the deposit.
Banks are not earning on the deposit.
Saving deposit, the bank is paying you interest.
It's not Sharia compliant.
Current account is not paying you interest. Okay, can we say for saving, that money on which you are getting an interest is Sharia non-compliant, but the one you are not getting interest is Sharia compliant? Can we make that difference?
In the deposits, banks are paying the interest. Banks are not getting interest in that money. So the money itself is not mingled with interest. So
Yeah.
it is free from interest. The interest they are paying to the depositors.
Yeah, how about the one that you are getting?
Sorry.
You have let's say a saving account in a conventional bank. That money, let's say 10,000 ringgit, can we say is Sharia compliant?
If it's mixed with interest.
Meaning that it's not like Sharia compliant assets. What are the Sharia non-compliant assets? You have pork, you have pig, you have, these are Sharia non-compliant assets, right? The interest itself is Sharia compliant asset. But the capital here, this is a critical issue. Scholars have had different views on this. And because of this, they have disagreed whether we can use the capital in a conventional bank as collateral in an Islamic financing.
There is a counter-argument.
Collateral or to pay, let's say you want to buy something, can you use that money to buy Sharia compliant asset? You're only using your money, you're not taking the interest.
For example, Islamic bank.
This is one view. The other view,
No,
I'm coming to that, just to give the whole picture, then you give me your view. Some say the moment your money are inside a conventional bank, they are tainted. Tainted. Why? Because they are tainted with riba. They are not pure anymore. It's just like when you put poison in water, the whole water will contaminate. Not only that, you say you are helping conventional bank to continue with its riba-based practices. Because of your money, if you haven't placed that money in that bank, the bank wouldn't extend loans to others. It's because of you, your money is being used to give interest. So وَلَا تَعَاوَنُوا عَلَى الْإِثْمِ وَالْعُدْوَانِ. Here you are helping the bank to spread riba. It's you actually. Without you, the bank will close, isn't it? So this is the second view. Now,
the thing is, like, Islamic bank is not questioning the individual who puts his money or her money into the deposit, right?
yes,
Whether it came from the gambling, whether it came from the
stealing.
not halal
Yeah.
activities, is not questioning. It will receive money because money in nature cannot be haram. Like in nature, like if you're talking about the legal maxim, from the beginning, like the istihsan of the money is halal. they cannot be haram. Like this is money. This is like just like mere of exchange. So
money is something that can be can be depending on
the treatment.
yeah.
So when we're talking that, for example, in state of Daruliyah, in the country, there is no other options for you to save your money, like on a current account, to save your money. You're not earning interest. Even if you're earning interest, you are waiving out the interest part as a security. So you're like trying to clean it out. So why don't these conventional banks, which is, for example, in the non-Muslim jurisdiction, cannot participate in Muslim jurisdiction, let's say the Musharakah project,
Okay.
with the money of the depositors?
Okay.
Also, Prof,
Anyway, this is just to tell you that IOP has preferred another view, the view that you are talking about, that money is abstract in itself. They have favored the view that what really counts is the capital. Okay. On the other side, when a conventional bank contribute into a musharakah, it is based on the principle that we don't ask the source, because this bank, when they come up with 100 million as their contribution in the musharakah, it doesn't mean they took it from their own capital. Maybe they borrow it. Maybe it's they're investing in a Sharia compliant investment, so they got that capital and they place it into musharakah. Maybe they have portfolios which are Sharia compliant. Let's say current accounts. Current accounts, they don't pay interest. Can we say they are Sharia compliant? Current accounts, are they Sharia compliant?
Yes.
In conventional banks? Yeah. Tell her yes. Tell her yes. They don't pay interest, yeah? Does it mean they are Sharia compliant?
The thing is, they create money out of the money.
Yes.
So it's not like, not absolute halal. Why?
It's not the deposit is money.
It's not directly Sharia compliant.
Huh?
It is not Sharia.
I like that. That will summarize the whole thing. Yes, please. Yes, please. Go ahead. Can we hear our brother here?
Funds are being used by the institutions to either create money or for interest-bearing loans.
Yeah.
That prohibition is legal. It's not. It's
حرام لغيره.
haram legal. You deposited your money, and the terms and conditions of agreement are that you don't get any interest on your funds. So when the prohibition is legal, it doesn't affect the actual act between yourself and your.
So you are saying حرام لغيره.
It means the customer is not there.
A customer is not. You cannot say completely that it's non-Sharia compliant.
Yeah.
The current account is what the conventional.
So we cannot say it's Sharia non-compliant.
We can't say it's not compliant.
So it's not compliant, and there's no evidence that it's not non-compliant. I don't know how you put it. Now, talking about creation of money, this is true if creation of money is Sharia non-compliant. But if it is Sharia compliant,
How do they create money?
the issue is very controversial whether what is called what we call money creation, fractional reserve, is creating money from money.
10 times more. You give them $1,
The issue is
$9.
whether that is creation of money or not. The debate is whether that is creation of something from nothing. If it is creation of something, I mean money from money, it's an issue. So the debate, which is a long one, since Islamic banking started, whether Islamic banking should or should not practice fractional reserve, still we have two views here. Some say no, you cannot do it because you are creating money from money. and therefore it is not permissible. Some say no, it is not creation of money because ultimately there's no new money coming in. It's the same money, but the way it is multiplied has to be that way. There's no other way we can do it. Not only it has to be that way, but the way it is done, there's nothing that contradicts any Sharia principle. It's just like what we are arguing now, whether that account, which is a current account, is tainted or not tainted once placed in a conventional bank which is dealing with riba. Is this a kind of helping this conventional bank for the haram, or is not helping? This is one reason why research has to really stay there. I mean, looking into all these issues, trying to solve them, or at least to give some solutions to it. That's why you are here. That's why we are here. That's why this institution is here. Now, because of that, so AAOIFI says it's okay. A conventional bank can be one of the partners in a Musharakah venture. Another issue is maybe because of the time, I'll just skip one or two views. For example, one of the things which the BNM Shariah Standard focus on is when one of the partners, let's say we have 2-3 partners, defaults in paying or in dispersing the capital. According to a specific schedule, these capital must be paid, let's say, every 2 or 3 months. So we have a default here. This AAOIFI is silent about, but BNM has had about 2 pages explaining how to deal with a partner who has defaulted in dispersing what he promised to disperse. So they propose few things like he must exit, but he has to compensate the Musharakah because there are some actual costs. Or the partners have to, after exiting, they should amend the TNC, terms and conditions, in case of scheduled injection of capital. Meaning that once he's out, definitely they have to agree again on the profit and loss sharing ratio, because they calculated on the basis, let's say, of 3 partners. Now we have only 2 partners. So we have different capital now, we have different risks, we have different, so they have to amend the TNC.
So, when we are talking about defaulting partner in Mudar and Musharakah, is it someone when promising that they will give this capital and then they are not giving it?
Definitely. No, there are 2 scenarios. The whole capital is defaulted. Second scenario, the first, let's say, tranche, the first amount is paid, but the second is not. Is deferred, is defaulted. So you will find details of these 2 scenarios in the BNM Shariah Standard, but not in AAOIFI. It's completely silent about it. For the profit distribution, this issue was discussed before. What if the capital is in the form of multi-currency? Let's say we need 1 million ringgit, but this 1 million has been pooled, 30% of it euro, the other one US dollars, the other one Australian dollars. Several investors pooled their currencies. Now, how to consider that as a capital? First, we have to determine one currency only. Let's say the Malaysian ringgit. This business venture will start here in Malaysia, therefore we are using the Malaysian ringgit. Then, how about the rate that we have to adopt? We have US dollars, we have euro, this has, according to the BNM standard, the exchange rate that we have to agree, or the partner should agree, should be on the day of the contract execution. This is when we execute the contract. Let's say Monday, we plan to execute the Musharakah. So we have to wait until Monday and see the exchange rate of Monday, not the exchange rate of Friday. So then, that will be recorded as the capital of this Musharakah. But according to AAOIFI, the prevailing exchange rate in the day of the capital injection. It's not when the contract is executed, but it's when capital is injected. That makes different account. One important difference here. Yeah?
What about normal loan? How can we calculate our loan from the loan date or payment date?
You mean this is in a typical loan contract?
Yes.
You mean the payment? The payment of the loan?
Yes.
It has to be calculated from the day it was given. Let's say you lend me, simple example, you lent me 100 ringgit.
Yes.
For a period of 1 month. After 1 month, how much I give you? I give you 100 ringgit, or the new, what we call the purchase power, the purchasing power of 100 ringgit. Because after 1 month, because of the time value of money, it may become 110. So here I have to give you 100, not 110.
But we have agreement. I will take loan as a ringgit. I will make payment as a dollar.
Ah.
What is the case? Date and also.
It will be based. If we are to do this, then it is based on what is called forward exchange. المصارفة في الذمة. المصارفة في الذمة, this is as if we are going to do an exchange after 1 month. Then it will be based on the prevailing, on the day of settlement. As we meet after 1 month, you give me the rate of that day. But it has to be based on musarafa, not on dain. Musarafa means we agree from now that after 1 month, we exchange this amount. Right? This is called musarafa fi dhimma. But if it is loan, you gave me 100 on the basis that you give me the equivalent of 100 in US dollars after 1 month, then it has to be on the day of settlement. Why? Because if you it has to be on the day of the exchange. When you gave me the $100, how much the US dollars? Let's say 4.45. You give me a 4.45 at a time. Because if you give me the exchange rate of the settlement day, it could be higher than what you give me, and that is riba. 100 now is 4.5. 100 after 1 month is 5. That extra is riba. We have one maxim that says الديون تقضى بأصلها وبقيمتها. The difference is whether we have to pay the debt based on the date of settlement or based on the day of the loan. It has to be based on the day of the loan. You gave me 100, you get 100. You gave me 2,000, I give you 2,000. With exceptional cases where inflation affects this dain, let's say you gave me 1,000 ringgit, but because I am a defaulter, I kept defaulting 5 years. After 5 years, when I became rich, I called you, I say, yeah, I have your 1,000 ringgit. But at that time, that 1,000 ringgit has lost its purchasing power because of inflation. What is the solution for this? If I give you 1,000 ringgit, as if I have given you, let's say, 700 ringgit.
I think it was Malik gave you that it lost more than 1/3, then you can say.
That's one view. But the Majma' Fiqhi of Jeddah, to cut it short, they say they have, they talk about ghubn fahish. This is one, the difference is really how to call fahish? Extravagance. Extravagant kind of difference. Let's say the inflation has really eaten up about 30 to 40%, 50% of your original loan. Then they said it has to be based on Musalaha, sulh. They say sulh. Sulh means please come and sit down and see how much. Yeah, mutual agreement.
Also, some contribution issues, Prof. Inflation rate may be calculated wrongly, and also inflation rate doesn't include the price of everything. Maybe a borrower used this money for a specific product, and the price of that product doesn't change within 5 years. This is also another issue.
If it doesn't change, no issue. The main issue is when inflation, the inflation rate affects the original debt substantially. Okay, time is over, but our discussion is not. What I would suggest, I would just ask you to read. I mean, just to focus on the differences quickly. This is one difference, okay? On the profit distribution should be, of course, in the Musharakah, we would not distribute the profit until actual or constructive valuation is made. التنضيد الحقيقي والحكمي. This is, we have to make actual. This is when we want to exit the Musharakah. So we have to make the valuation on actual basis, meaning that we see how much these assets can be sold on that day. And if we still have assets, then how much they value, what's the value of that asset, then we can determine how much capital we have and how much profit we have. Both AAOIFI and BNM are of the view that profit can be distributed after actual or constructive valuation. Constructive valuation, they have similar definition, but they are not using the same terms. AAOIFI said constructive valuation is no more than fair value, the fair value of the asset. According to BNM, they said any value agreeable among partners, including the market value, we can also make estimates. So we have now assets in the form of tangible, intangible, how to value them. Basically, it's a fair value. Okay, both standards are of the view that we can form reserves to actually PER and IR. This is profit equalization reserve and investment equalization reserve. Both are permissible to be formed, this kind of reserves. Valuation of receivables. This is empty for you to fill. I forgot to write something here. But according to AAOIFI, it must be, this is a monetary value of expected recoverable debts, excluding non-recoverable debts. So here we are talking about exiting the Musharakah, but we have receivables. Okay? The company, or let's say this Musharakah venture has, let's say, 1 million receivables. So how do we evaluate it? It has to be based on the expected recoverable debt. So we have to differentiate between recoverable debt and non-recoverable debt. So there are debts which cannot be recovered. Forget about them. Therefore, do not include them into the valuation. The same thing is, as you can see here, by BNM. Profit ceiling, can we make in Musharakah profit ceiling less than 6%? Yes, both say you can go for a fixed, what you call return. Collaterals from partners, yes. Partner A asks collateral from partner B. That is permissible, provided that collateral is not liquidated until negligence or misconduct is proven. So without which, that collateral should go back to the owner.
Sorry, can you repeat the profit ceiling?
First thing we say, this venture, we are expecting 6%. We put 6%. Can we put that as our ceiling?
It's only an indicative, right?
Yes?
It's only indicative or it's an actual
What we call the ceiling, that we are putting here, that you cannot get, we do not go beyond 6% or 8%. The one that is based on profit and loss sharing. What is beyond 6% has its own terms and conditions. We may agree to distribute it based on a new profit and loss sharing, or we can give it to one of the partners. It is permissible. But the PLS, profit and loss sharing ratio, is up to 6%. Beyond 6%, we can come up with the new terms and conditions. The actual practice is that what is beyond the ceiling is normally given to the manager of the Musharakah as an incentive for him.
What about the surplus goes to the reserve?
This our profit. Let's say we are realizing 6%. We agree that 1% of the profit should go to PR. So that is used, just like in Mudaraba, is used basically to pay back or to pay the expected profits. Okay, I am finishing here. This one also is empty.
Another quick question.
Quick, okay.
Wasn't PER prohibited in Malaysia?
Not prohibited, but when you say prohibited, it means it's wrong. No, it's not. It's not wrong, but they just stopped this practice. Yeah, actually, the BNM has allowed the PR. It's just that they don't see it as a good practice. Do you know why?
Who says that? If BNM says yes, who's?
I mean, it is permissible from the Sharia point of view,
Okay.
but whether it is the best practice in the market is something else.
Okay.
So they found that it is not the best practice. Why? Because they want to really encourage profit and loss sharing. Customers should know that they are going into a risky business. They should bear the responsibility. The moment you start talking about PR and IR, people start having an inclination to look for capital guarantee, protected. They get angry if they don't get the expected returns, even though they know it's based on profit and loss sharing, but they still get angry when they don't get the expected return. So they say, no, let it be pure PLS. But Sharia compliant? Yes, it is Sharia compliant.
So what's the name of that authority which says it is not good?
BNM itself, they didn't say it, but once they stopped it, the industry understood that it is not a good practice.
Okay.
And of course, there are many conferences that criticize it. I'm going to stop in 2 minutes.
No, I'm enjoying it.
Really? Then the shareholding company, I mean, yeah. When it comes to a shareholding company, this is a bank and customer. This shareholding company, even though they didn't mention the bank, but it's general, it's binding. The moment the two partners inject capital, it's binding. Because both are partners now. They cannot withdraw their capital. Now, for the Musharakah Mutanaqisa, this is my first observation. Amam is mainly for Sharikat al-Milk. Amam, which is Musharakah Mutanaqisa, is mainly for Sharikat al-Aqd. A big difference between AAOIFI and the several structures proposed. And